It's a really neat concept to take a tree growing in its natural environment and harness its ruggedness and disease resistance to help produce a high-quality fruit. I've been working with fruit trees and vines for some time now. Much of this experience has been in the southeastern United States, where pests, diseases, and other climatic factors make fruit growing a real challenge. Indeed, some have concluded that fruit just doesn't grow in this area. And the discouragement is understandable. But should challenges in the orchard and vineyard mean we give up? Absolutely not. With close observation, careful research, and diligent implementation, we can develop strategies that produce truly remarkable results. Today, I would like to share with you one technique from my wild orchard that you might want to implement in yours. One of my first exposures to fruit in its wild state came when I ate the fall fruit of Diospyros virginiana, the American persimmon. A native of North America, this tree can be found in the wild from Indiana to Florida, from the Atlantic coast to eastern Oklahoma and Texas. Springing up along roadsides, in fields, or on forest edges, it's a common occurrence in eastern habitats. And if left to its own, these trees can reach 30 to 80 feet. The adaptability and ruggedness of American persimmons as they occur in creation would seem to make them an excellent candidate for the wild orchard, except for one thing: fruiting potential. American persimmons are dioecious plants, meaning that any given tree will be either male or female. Of a given population of wild persimmons, a certain percentage will be male trees, meaning they will not bear any fruit. They may flower dependably and even profusely, but those flowers will contain only male reproductive parts, and therefore no fruit. Conversely, some trees will be female. These trees will produce fruit, but of varying quality. One tree may produce large, luscious fruit of excellent eating quality, and the next may produce small, inferior fruit hardly worth eating. What this means for you and I as growers is that for any given persimmon sapling, we have no way of knowing whether this tree will mature to produce large, luscious fruit, small, inferior fruit, or in the case of a male, no fruit at all. In 2016, I began an experiment. I had noticed several wild persimmon trees growing along our driveway, small trees, small enough to graft. I understood that exceptional varieties of American persimmon could be grafted onto wild rootstock to create fruitful trees. I had also learned from forums and elsewhere that other types of persimmons, varieties such as the Asian persimmon fuyu, sold in grocery stores, could be grafted to wild rootstock as well. With this in mind, I prepared to graft in the spring of 2016. I selected several varieties of persimmon, including the Asian varieties Tecumseh and Saijo, and grafted them to wild rootstock. Fast forward 3.5 years from the time of grafting to the fall of 2019. Some of the Asian persimmon trees, grafted on wild persimmon rootstock, now stood nearly 8 feet tall, and most importantly, they had a modest yet beautiful crop of fruit, which had not been sprayed with fungicides or insecticides, and which had suffered from neither diseases nor pests. It's a really neat concept to take a tree growing in its natural environment and harness its ruggedness and disease resistance to help produce a high-quality fruit. Next time you see a wild persimmon, a wild huckleberry, a wild grape, stop and ask yourself, could I use this plant, or could I use any of the lessons it teaches to help me succeed in my wild orchard?